No matter how you feel about Will Smith after the whole Oscar slap situation, his new show called Pole to Pole had me intrigued. There's some things that I had to come and talk to you about from a licensed therapist perspective. But before we get into it, I need for you to put in the comment section, what did you think about Pole to Pole? And I know some of y'all got strong feelings about Will Smith too, so go ahead and tell me about that too. Now, I enjoy watching this so much that I literally had my mom and my sister watch it with me. I knew that this was going to be top tier after watching his last one. Remember that one, Welcome to Earth? It was so good. And I was hoping and praying for a season 2 of that one, but I don't think that's gonna happen. The first thing I wanna talk to you guys about is how we saw a different side of Will Smith altogether. I typically know him as being a little funny, hilarious. There were so many times where I was cracking up at the things that he said. But I also saw this level of fear, this boldness, this sense of adventure that I haven't seen from him before. Let's talk about how when he was in the Amazon, I saw real fear on his face when he was in that cave and saw those spiders that are as big as my head. He was scared for real. You can tell the facial expression that he had was like, bro, get me out of here. I'm recording this for this TV show, but this ain't my cup of tea. He even saw a deeper level of fear with him in regards to the anaconda. When they found the anaconda and the people in the jungle, I can't remember the tribe's name, unfortunately, but they were holding the anaconda. And then the guy was like, Will, you want to cut a piece of the anaconda so we can do some research? And he was looking like, oh my goodness, this is real. I can't believe I'm doing this right now. And get me out of here once again. And even though we can tell there were moments where he was extremely fearful, I mean, think about it. I would be afraid too. You know, like I don't do spiders either. And there's just some things that I don't want to rock with in regards to nature. And so he was still bold enough to continue to follow through. I can sense in kind of like his tone of voice, there were many times where he was like, I really would prefer to bail out on this moment, especially, I think it was the first episode when he was, you know, going through all of the ice with the dude and they were walking long distances and he said that his lips, he couldn't feel his lips, they were frozen. And when they showed his face, his lips were all purple and blue because it was too cold. All of those moments, I felt that he was like, yeah, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't know what I was thinking about when I said yes to this project. But yet he continued on. And that's the level of fearlessness and boldness that he exemplified. These are truly once in a lifetime opportunities. He experienced new cultures and new food and new languages. Went to some of the most remote places on earth, which we'll talk about shortly. And before we move on, it has come to my attention that only about 4 to 5% of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed to my channel, and we gotta get that number way up. So if you are finding this video or any of my other ones helpful or entertaining or whatever, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification button because that does help me to create videos like this for you every single week. So let's get back to it. I absolutely loved how honest he was. I didn't expect him to talk about the Oscar situation and the whole, you know, slap, Chris Rock, that whole thing. I did not expect that at all. And there was this level of vulnerability that I saw with him where he talked about how his world came crumbling down after the Oscars. He felt shame and embarrassment. I think in one episode when they were talking about exploring what happiness truly means, he mentioned it feeling like a sigh of relief now that people got to experience him in a different light. The image of Will Smith shattered. The face and the mask and the image that he was trying to hold up as being this good dude was shattered. And now people got a chance to see him for what he really was, a flawed human being who made mistakes, who did things wrong, who's embarrassed, who won't get it right. People got a chance to see that real side of him too. And I didn't know that he was going to be that honest, but I'm glad he was because it added an extra layer to this whole entire show. It wasn't just him going from pole to pole, but he was meeting all of these great people, these explorers, these scientists, and also discovering himself along the way. It was like he was peeling back a new identity that he hasn't fully tapped into previously. When you're in new environments and strange environments, it tests you in a different level, in a different way. way that you haven't been tested before. You really start to see what you're made of when you're in unfamiliar territory. Talking about he wanted to be the best actor in the world and all of these things, and how he had money and fame and women and all of this notoriety. And he was like, I still wasn't really happy. So I appreciated the fact that when they went on this expedition and tried to figure out and find the happiest people on earth, that these people weren't in Beverly Hills with their bags and, you know, their nice homes and all of the money in the world. They were in the Himalayas all the way up at the top. Very small group of people, like less than 100, and they were known as some of the happiest people on earth. It wasn't because they were materially rich, but it was because they were rich in their spirit. To see the highs and the lows and the peaks in his cortisol levels when he would do different tasks was really interesting. You know, as someone who studies psychology, it was interesting for me to see how cortisol levels and even just being extremely happy and peaks of extreme happiness don't always last for long periods of time. And we think that we're just supposed to be happy 100% of the time, all of the time. And it's like, no, highs and lows. This is what Earth and life is all about. The remote places that he went to were so beautiful. I mean, you and I watching this will probably never go to any of the places that he went to, but I'm glad that somebody is doing it. I know I recently seen him on Jimmy Kimmel. Was it Jimmy Kimmel? Jimmy Fallon, somebody's late night show. And I saw a clip of him talking about how he went through some of the craziest things while shooting this show. And now he's only gonna do black people things because that whole going under the ice and trying to take samples in some of like the negative 0-degree weather. He was like, oh, this is for white people. I'm black. I'm not supposed to be doing this, you know? And I thought that that was very interesting because he did do some very extreme things. But the places that he went to really showed how amazing God's creation was. When I was watching this, I was just like, Lord, this is beautiful. What you made is amazing. And majority of us will never even get a chance to encounter probably 10, 20, 30% of the things that we'll experience on this journey. Especially the episode, I think they were in New Guinea. And when him and the tribal people were on that boat and they were in that ocean, the way that that water was so clear. Y'all know I love the ocean. Y'all know I love the beach. I'm in California. Y'all know this about me, right? But when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, the ocean is so clear. The water is so clear. This is beautiful. Like, that's literally what I said out loud when I was watching this. And it just showed how different places and different nations and different locations have something very unique to that location. Once again, these were all once in a lifetime opportunities that Will was getting a chance to experience. The element that I was very keenly aware of while watching this is that each place he went to had their source of issues. Remember when he was in the Amazon and he met with those that live there and experience and live off of the land, and he was talking about how oil companies come and they're messing up the trees and the animals and all of those things. It was also Will and Pole to Pole and this whole production company bringing awareness to those different places because I'd never heard of it. I didn't know that existed. And so now I'm aware of some of the things that's happening in the Amazon, which impacts this particular group of people, but eventually is going to impact us too. Even when Tench, hopefully I'm saying it right, even when Tench, and they were in New Guinea and they were talking about how this very remote island was going to be flooded again by a high wave and a high tide and the king tide as they expressed it to be. And I didn't even know these group of people existed. You know, I didn't even know that this was a thing. Very sad that they're probably going to flood again. And God forbid that people are going to die because, you know, the land, the water is rising, the ocean is rising. All of these things are happening all over the world and it's impacting very remote groups, people, and locations. One thing that I thought was missing was like a call to action. Because it's like, yeah, you telling us about the whole Amazon and yeah, I could go and research it on my own. Or you're telling us about those that are in New Guinea. You're telling us about all of these different remote populations. And you are bringing awareness by explaining this on the show, which I appreciate. But also I would have loved for them to say, hey, you can learn more about this here, right? Go to this website here, whether it was in post-production that they allowed that to happen, or even, you know, in the comment section on YouTube when they were sharing the video, when National Geographic and Disney Plus were sharing the videos. I would love to get more resources of what's happening, because what if I wanted to help? What if I wanted to volunteer? What if I wanted to donate, right? I don't know what the best way to do that. So I think that awareness is one of the steps, but I would have loved a very explicit call to action on how we can move, because we're all interconnected and this is all our planet. My final thoughts on this was that, once again, this was good to me. I hope that this gets another season, or I hope they do a season 2 of Welcome to Earth. Like, I enjoy these types of things, regardless of how you feel about him, you know, and what he experienced and what he did. You can put that to the side, but this show was absolutely good. And I hope Disney Plus and I hope National Geographic continues to create content like this, because I love it and I'm intrigued by it and I want to see more of it. Thank you so much for watching another review on my channel. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And guess what? I'll see you next time. Be blessed.